Hello, my friends, with Big Bill Anderson's Death Tours. I am here in Tucson at Evergreen Memorial Park Cemetery, here to pay my respects to another one of the infamous cowboys from the Tombstone days, the 1880s. This, my friends, is the grave of William Breakenridge, who was the deputy sheriff under John Behan during the time of the OK Corral. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this fascinating man. He was not a friend of Wyatt Earp, I can tell you that right now. But I'm going to go into a little bit more of his bio. And stay tuned, my friends, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you.
William Billy Breakenridge was born on December 26, 1846 in Watertown, Wisconsin. He traveled to Pikes Peak mining area when he was just 15 years old. 3 years later, in 1864, he joined Company B of the 3rd Colorado Cavalry for service in the Civil War, where he fought in the Battle of Sand Creek, as well as several other skirmishes. Around 1876, he headed for Arizona Territory, ending up in Tombstone by 1880. There he went to work for Sheriff Johnny Behan. That same year, he was also appointed as U.S. Deputy Marshal, a position he would hold until 1889. This designation gave him more authority than what was allowed by Cochise County, helping him to become one of Tombstone's most effective lawmen. Known as one of the most courteous and modest peace officers who ever worked in the lawless town of Tombstone, Billy Breakenridge, however, was not to be trifled with. Though he put several outlaws in Boot Hill Cemetery, Breakenridge used a gun only as a last resort. But when necessary, use it he would, in a fast and accurate manner. Before long, his skills with a gun earned him a reputation as a lethal gunfighter, and few outlaws ever challenged him. He was present in Tombstone during the infamous gunfight at the OK Corral. He was said to have been on friendly terms with the Clanton faction, and of course, working under Johnny Behan, is usually perceived to have sided with those opposing the Earps. Though many outlaws would not challenge him, this was not in the case on March 26, 1882. The night before, two men by the names of Zwing Hunt and Billy Grounds attempted to rob the Tombstone Mining and Milling Company in Charleston, Arizona. After being challenged, they shot and killed a man before panicking and taking off without a dime. Before long, Breakenridge deputized 3 men to ride with him in a posse. They began to track the 2 killers. Finding them at a ranch near Tombstone, a gunfight ensued. Though it only lasted seconds, when the smoke cleared, Breakenridge had killed Billy Grounds and Zwing Hunt had been wounded. Unfortunately, one of the deputized men, John Gillespie, was also dead. The other 2 posse members were wounded but would recover. However, Zwing Hunt would also recover and escaped, but was killed by Apache Indians in a short time later. In July of 1882, Billy Breakenridge claimed to be one of the last people to see outlaw Johnny Ringo alive on a trail a day or 2 before Ringo was found by a creek with a bullet in his head, either done by himself or by the hands of someone else. In 1888, Breakenridge changed tactics completely, accepting a position as a surveyor for Maricopa County, which is the area where Phoenix is located. In this capacity, he was soon tasked with surveying the Salt River for potential dam sites. After examining several sites, he returned with a party from Phoenix in July of 1889. Traveling on horseback, it took the men a week to reach Box Canyon near the confluence of Tonto Creek and Salt River. Breakenridge insisted that this would be the best place for a dam, and he was right, though it would be more than a decade later before construction would start in September of 1906. Breakenridge had accurately predicted the perfect site for what is now Roosevelt Dam, completed in 1911. In 1895, the railroad had been held up or attempted to be robbed several times by outlaws Grant Wheeler and Joe George. Breckenridge, along with a posse, wasted no time tracking the men and trailed Wheeler into Colorado on April 25th. The next morning, the outlaw was surrounded and briefly resisted with a few shots from his gun. But sure that he would be taken to jail or killed, Wheeler chose to take his own life instead. When the ex-lawman was in his 70s, Breckenridge began to write his memoirs, which included the lawless days in Tombstone, the gunfight at the OK Corral, numerous accounts with outlaws and Indians, and his days working for the railroad. In 1928, his book El Dorado, Bringing the Law to the Mesquite, was published. Wyatt Earp and his wife Josie would become major critics of the book, claiming that much of what Breckenridge wrote was biased and more fiction than fact. Regardless, it gained Tombstone enough interest that citizens created El Dorado Days, still celebrated annually in October in Tombstone, commemorating the famous gunfight. 3 years after his book was published, the Arizona pioneer and lawman would die in Tucson, Arizona on January 31st, 1931, at the age of 84. Before his death, Breckenridge said he would gladly do it all again. In one of my favorite movies, 1993's Tombstone, starring Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, Jason Priestley portrayed Billy Breckenridge and did an outstanding job. So my friends, here's just another small video on one of the characters of the Wild West, Tombstone probably in particular, and I wanted to share it with you. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and have a great day, my friends. Thank you.